because I'm sort of a beginning gardener, and I feel like I hear conflicting stuff. Maybe I'm listening to too many voices, but I want to listen to nature.
I'm Chrissy, and I live in Corvallis, and I don't know if you remember me, Charlotte, but I got a huge sheet of plastic from you that I probably will be using this fall for weather protection. And I'm here to find out what you're doing that I can make out in my garden.
My name's Natasha, and I moved to Eugene to learn more about farming and gardening, and met Charlotte through some organizational work that I do. And I'm just here to learn as much as I can. Grow foods and be around trees and stuff.
I'm Gary. I've been gardening for a long time and grew up with the tradition of till it up and put manure on it. And I still sort of use that tradition, and we have a tenant that also gardens in the same space, and he uses lots of compost and lets it sit. And various times mine does better than his, sometimes his does better than mine, so I've been kind of watching this progression, and I'm interested in other methods of gardening.
And you told me, Gary, you had problems with flat grass.
This time of year, there's a grass it's an annual grass that just likes to get involved in the garden, go to seed, so pain in the butt.
My name is Marty. I came here because this is my first year gardening in this area, and I'm not very experienced at gardening in general, but I'd like to be. So I came here to learn as much as I can, and I'm very interested in sustainability and sustainable agriculture. So I came here to find out what you guys have to offer, and that's why I'm here.
Thank you.
Other than the fact that Gary dragged me.
My name's Dion. I have kind of a haphazard background with gardening, but I plan to do a lot more of it, and I'm hoping to avoid a lot of the beginner's mistakes by listening to people who know what they're doing.
And I didn't say we've done, just in the last 2 years, more than 500 gardens here in Eugene. Only 375 of those by me. Is that a half question?
Yeah, it's a question. Yeah, when you want to get time. What were those four levels you were talking about? One was peas and beans, and one was roots.
Greens.
And the first one was the actual.
It's the summer crops. I call a different
How you
animal. Yeah. Because I interplant beans with the summer crops, but I don't interplant root crops and greens usually. I actually do, about this time of year, start sticking in kale plants and collard plants into those summer crops, so that when I pull the summer crops out, those kale plants are already pretty big. That's how I get around that you have to plant the kale to get big now, and if you have a really full garden. Part of my system is very, very intensive. I don't want people to have to dig up more land. So you have this very full garden, but you want a winter garden. So you just start noticing where your tomatoes didn't totally fill everything up. You'll be amazed at how the kale and collards and Swiss chard can find their way through and grow. So that whole topic about how to plant things together, so that's kind of an overview of companion planting. I do very little with crop rotations. In this area, we're very fortunate not to have a lot of trouble growing brassicas without bugs. And most people believe that we will have more trouble if we grow brassicas without rotating them. Oh, cabbage, kale, cauliflower,
Brussels sprouts,
broccoli,
collards,
Brussels sprouts,
mustard,
collards,
turnips,
yeah.
rutabagas.
Most of our winter garden. So I believe that by planting those legumes in, that you stop those bugs that get reproduced. But, you know, observe this for yourself and listen to what different plants might want different soils. So if anything that you can come home with from this is, I have to tell a story about me, because it still happens. Every time I go into the garden, usually I have a bunch of stuff to transplant, or I have an area I'm going to clear that I'm going to put transplants in, and I get out there and the plants go, I need green sand, I need this, I need that. And I go, well, I'm here to do what I want. And within about a half an hour, I get with their program. and I feel like it's really, really important because we all have this program. I mean, I think it's part of what motivates me to get up in the morning is I make my plan. And then I go and do it. And I'm seeing these plants as just mine. And then they tell me, we have a need. We want water. We want, one time it was, well, it was a trace mineral. And I'm sitting there going, I don't even know how to get that trace mineral. But anyway, so, but then, once I do what they want, I just feel them radiating love and connection to me. And I go, oh, that's what this is about. And then they say, and incidentally, could you cushion my roots a little? Could you, you know, and they just keep me in line. But they also give me what I'm looking for, ultimately, which is that sense of belonging and wanting to be connected. So, so they teach me how to drop my agenda and be with them. So anyway, before a lot of you came, I went over quickly how we do. So we tend to, I actually use this vicious word scalp, the grass, and on a second year garden, and hopefully we'll put that on the email. Like if you go in February and you at least plant these beans, fava beans, in February, then you won't have these weeds grow up. That's what we like to do, is preventive ground filling. And then I don't even pull those fava beans when I plant. Maybe I'll plant peas in February, but the peas sometimes don't make it that soon, so I do plant some fava beans. But even then, like as you start planting lettuce, I just pull some of those fava beans out and plant some lettuce in there. And just one person asked me what I put into the garden, and when I'm doing a garden for somebody else, I say, what do they want? But in my garden, it's like, what do you want? What does this space want? What do the plants around it want? And so there's kind of talking about 3 different layers, which we talked about that in terms of, in those 3 layers, peas, greens, and root crops. You can interplant very closely in there. And they're not going to compete